Okay. We're actually 2023 has some decent summer comedies in their lineup this year, it seems.
If you do not know where you come from, how do you know who you are?
We could still find her. Our passports are in my suitcase that got stolen.
You know who can bypass airport security? K-pop stars. Everyone remember their names?
Sassy.
Cutie.
Lisa.
Lisa, too.
I don't believe these girls are singers.
Girls, show them.
What are we supposed to show?
You're a fan of Cardi B, right?
Yeah. Is she here? There's some whores in this house.
There's some whores in this.
And today we have Joyride. Once again, very pleasant surprise here, but thank you to Lionsgate. Yeah, Lionsgate Films, or I guess publishing house, I don't know, LLC, however you say it. Similar to The Blackening, just a couple weeks back, Lionsgate sent me, like the day after, an invite for an early screening of Joyride. I was like, okay, well, I remember seeing the trailer for Joyride, and I thought, you know what, that looks like a good time. I see some familiar faces in there. Trailer made me laugh a couple times. I was like, yeah, sure. And I mean early. Granted, I I lacked the motivation to create this right after I saw the movie, but even still, this film doesn't come out until first week of July, and we're not even done with May yet. So, director of Joyride this time around is Adele Lim, who, looking her up, so this is her directorial debut. When you go to IMDb and it says known for, you see that she's been a writer for stuff like, here's where it gets interesting. Positive side, she's been a writer for stuff like Crazy Rich Asians. On the questionable side, she's been a writer for stuff like Raya and the Last Dragon, which I covered and was not a huge fan of. Didn't even know that going into the film, but regardless, I try to approach all these with an open mind. Upon seeing the trailer for Joyride, you might get the same kind of vibe that I did, which is like, oh, so this is kind of a hangover-esque film. It's giving Bridesmaids, or I don't know, just something like that. It's a female-centric, and in this case, Asian female-centric, like road trip comedy. Things are gonna get wild, and there's gonna be, from what the trailer shows you, like, oh, probably lots of sexual stuff and drug use and all of this. They kind of hinted a lot of drug use, but it looks like a fun, R-rated, just inappropriate, potentially genuinely funny time with maybe only a little bit of cringe mixed in. And for the most part, that's what it is. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed Joyride. It's only an hour and a half, so it's not even too much of your time. The film felt longer, but not in a bad way. It felt like a moderately chunky boy, you know. The cat's not obese, but you look at him crossing the living room and you think, oh, that's a Porky baby. Normally I would go into the whole cast. However, my caveat to that is that if it's an ensemble cast, usually more than 2, maybe 3 people at most, I don't typically go into everyone's filmography if it's that many. But I do gotta say, my girl, if you know me, you'll know exactly why I love her. But Stephanie Sue, she's my girl to watch now. She's in this, and she's great. They're all great, but like, not to disparage the rest of the cast, our main character / characters, everybody's great. Everybody brings something to the table that's either likable or funny or maybe hilarious or just entertaining. All the characters that made up our core group of women here, I enjoyed them all. I never was like, ugh, this bitch again or something like that. No, it was great. And even ancillary characters, everybody had a certain role to play to a degree. Nobody really overstayed their welcome, I think. The whole narrative is 2 childhood friends grow up together, you know, kind of supporting each other, but 2 wildly different character archetypes and all this. I got to travel back to like my home country to basically secure a business deal. Finds out that her mom, and where she gave her up for adoption, is also kind of near the same place they're going to, and so this turns into a whole like adventure of going to try to get this job interview, but then it's, oh, let's go find out where you came from, find your mom, and then we have our friends with us together on this trip, let's do this. But of course, it can never be that easy, as then hijinks and hilarity ensue when the friends don't all necessarily get along. They have their own quirks. They get into trouble with this gal who's like running drugs on a train, they get lost, they have to like hitchhike. Again, I'm not spoiling it, this is literally all that the trailer showed. But at the same time, for a film that's marketed as this like R-rated comedy, it does have some solid emotional beats and moments that, you know, you're any type of raucous comedy like this, no matter if you're Crazy Rich Asians or Hot Tub Time Machine or Hangover, you're gonna have those beats where they try to go like, they try to get emotional on you and try to have those characters more grounded and connected, and it works. I would have worked better, but sidebar, I thought this was funny. I saw the early access screening of The Blackening the night before, and it was fine. There was nobody was watching us, but oddly enough, I don't know if they were just making sure nobody snuck in. I don't know if they were watching us for our reactions to kind of gauge early audience like ratings and what jokes did or didn't land. I don't know if they were just in there as security. I don't know what they were doing, but the theater that we saw this movie in, we were flanked by 3 people, 2 on one side, 1 on the other, and I couldn't, and like they were just kind of like, they're just like leaning in the corners and just watching the movie, and then seemingly I felt like watching us watch the movie. And here's the ironic part. I do this like for part of my living, right? I'm putting myself out there. I live stream, I record myself. I've been on stages before. I've been in theater stuff and on a game show once when I got lucky. Like I don't mind people seeing me. I think it's some type of trauma-based thing where I crave the attention, right? But like, I don't know what it is, but something about people watching me watch this in a dark theater, the sanctum has been breached, right? Like my place of solace and sanctuary is, I'm just like kind of being, you know, just being scrutinized. It's like being watched while you rub what, alright, maybe that's not the best example. My point being is that it was a little bit, I wasn't expecting it. It was a little odd, a bit off-putting. I think just do what Paranormal Activity did and put some like night vision cameras in your theater and film my response for later. I don't know. But because of that, I didn't really let myself sink fully into certain moments of like comedy and also emotion, because I kept thinking like, well, am I just reacting because everybody else is, or what reaction am I giving off right now? And like I started literally getting into my head about like, well, what are they thinking of what I'm thinking? And it was not great. I had to keep putting myself back into the movie. That aside, there were nice emotional beats in this film. There were lots of funny moments in this film. I always say comedy is subjective. It is. What you find funny, I won't find funny maybe. And there's definitely shit that I find funny that a lot of normal, sane people out there will not find funny, and I completely understand it. But I think, you know, objectively, this film is better than most comedies out there. Is there still some cringe humor? Yes. I think that the cringiest part was it's the part from the trailer that made me cringe the most, which is like them pretending to be a K-pop group that's a funny concept. That's fine. The outfits, the names, the situation, that was fine. Then it's like, oh, we need you to perform and prove you're K-pop. I'm sitting there like, no, you don't. No, you don't need to perform, prove that this isn't enough. Them and the posse and the manager and all that. And then they're just, in the trailer, they're just like, there's some whores in this house. And it's just like, and then in the movie, it's a full-blown miniature music video. And I just was sitting there like, almost all the comedy worked in this film, but that was like that was the cringiest part for me. It didn't work, and it's worth mentioning. Direction is fine. It's pretty simple, more or less. There's some spicy shots kind of here and there. I think they play with graphics a little bit when it comes to like the opening or when they're traveling or certain bits, but they keep it pretty just much like, here's the camera, here are your characters, let them do the comedy magic. Acting is great. Comedy, for the most part, 2/3, if not 3/4 of the comedy all works. It's funny, hilarious in some moments. Story's good, story track. Some moments where you're just kind of like, oh, well, that was convenient, or oh, well, good thing it worked out that way, or you might think a little bit too hard into, oh, would a character really do this? But for the most part, not a lot of that, so it's fine. Nothing much to go into with the music or anything fancy. It's just like, at the end of the day, it's just a well-done comedy. This one had some more emotional weight to it in spots, so it made it feel like more of a actual story with comedy as well. Sure, worth it in theaters. I mean, I had a good time. The friends that I went with to go see it, they all had a good time. I thought it was an enjoyable film. Joyride, give it like a solid 4 out of 5. A solid 4 out of 5. It's not near perfection. It's up there. It's really good. It's worth a watch. Maybe see it in theaters. Maybe definitely stream it. Got some heartfelt moments. For the most part, I felt the comedy all works. Sometimes they rely on cringe comedy. I think there's like one big joke with puke involved. I don't think there's any toilet humor, but just like how in a lot of comedy movies with fellas, they like to talk about their peckers and the asses and the sex and all that. This is a female movie. There's talk of vaginas and vagina tattoos and buttholes and sex and all that, which is fine. It's not as bad as what Illumination will do on a good day. So yeah, it's fine. I don't really have any major problems with this film. Just some minor issues and preferences. That's all I gotta say about Joyride. Again, Lionsgate, you didn't pay me. It's not an ad. I wasn't paid. I was just given free tickets to go see this like almost a month and a half in advance. But that's my opinion of Joyride. Thanks, Lionsgate. Keep on doing that to this guy that gets like 20 views per video review. Stay tuned for the next episode, whatever movie I review next. Goodbye, travelers.